the Taurus G3. Let's check it out. Taurus has been in business for over 80 years in Brazil, and they were actually a licensed manufacturer for Beretta in the beginning and made a lot of different 92 clones and other things. But Taurus has definitely stepped out with revolvers and with their semi-automatics. Now, one of the big things about Taurus is that traditionally they've had quality control issues. Taurus came under new management. They've opened up facilities in Miami. They're getting ready to open up a facility in Georgia. And since that time, they have really stepped up their game, in my opinion. Starting out with the G2C, which is a 12-round compact version of the G3, which we're going to look at today. And it was very impressive. Taking the G3 out, guys, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of cool things about this handgun. And so I think Taurus is going in the right direction, and with the G3, they definitely are. Now guys, I was really wanting to get a hold of one of the G3s, and Big Daddy Unlimited sent this for this test and evaluation, and I really appreciate them helping out with this review. One thing that's interesting about the G3 is that there is a lot of excitement over this handgun, and the reason for that is because of the success of the G2 Compact, or the G2C. And I'm gonna tell you guys, Taurus has stepped up their game. I have never been a huge Taurus fan. I've had a number of Tauruses. I have the Judge, which I like. I have the TX22, which is an excellent pistol. And they have just been really good. And I think Taurus is making a big switch. And so that has brought a lot of people over to the G3. I mean, they're saying, you know, man, Taurus is changing things around. But what's really cool about Taurus is they remain to be a fairly reasonably priced firearm. And so that just gives guns to people that can't afford a gun, and yet it could be good quality. And one thing too that Taurus has reinstated is their lifetime repair or warranty policy. And that's one of the things that Taurus has always been known about. So let's go ahead and check, make sure the gun is unloaded. We're going to drop our magazine, check the chamber, and it's empty. 15-round magazine and a 17-round magazine. The magazine fits in 17 right here, and it just fits against the butt like this. Doesn't really add a whole lot to the firearm. And one thing about it, the magazines really fly out. They are Metgar magazines. And right here, Metgar, made in Italy, which makes most of the magazines for all your major gun manufacturers. And we have absolute witness holes all the way down for every round. Yellow follower. Now we have a polymer frame. It is kind of a glass nylon reinforced polymer. Matte finish on the slide. We'll see how durable it is, but I know that my G2 has been durable enough. It does take some scuffs, but you know, it's just got that anodized kind of a matte finish to it. Guys, really, to be honest with you, it's just a great looking firearm. It has some really classic lines to it, and it differentiates itself to me from a lot of the striker fire pistols. And so I think Taurus has done a really good job on this. Because it is a little bit larger than the G2, to me it gives it more balance. Now, beside the G2C being a little smaller, it does have a 12+1 magazine, while the G3 has a 15-round +1 and also a 17-round +1. Now we have low profile 3-dot sights. These are windage adjustable just by drifting, but they are polymer. And then you have a front fixed sight. The barrel has a chrome finish to it, chrome plating, you can see. And there is a loaded chamber indicator that's right here at the top. Now that is one of the differences between the G2C. You'll notice it has on the top your loaded chamber indicator right here. And so they just decided to minimalize it. You can just see it. So that just eliminated one of their processes, actually. We have front and rear cocking serrations. Of course, the front abbreviated, but definitely grippable. And we have a 1913 Picatinny rail with 3 slots. One thing about the grip is the texturing is just really nice. I mean, it's very aggressive, and there are panels all the way around and through. And then we have a place for your thumb right here. And then we have memory notches for your shooting finger. And so that way it's really trainable. You can just take that finger and put it up into that position, which I really like that because it just reminds me to put it up there. And then when you're firing, you can actually use that other side and just get your thumb on there. And helps to control the firearm just a little bit more. Of course, your mag release, we've already shown it. It can be switched to the other side. We have our slide release or slide stop here, and we have a frame safety. Now, some people aren't going to like it. Some people are going to like it. One of the things about a striker fire pistol is, especially guys that are used to double single action or revolvers, they just don't trust that striker fire, the trigger safety. So this gives you another option. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of frame safeties because I'm so used to it. But it is what it is, and especially if you're carrying appendix, that would be a good possible choice with that frame safety. Now, as far as safeties go, frame safeties, it's right there in that perfect position. I mean, you just hit it, bring it up, and it's just ready to go. Now, one of the things about having a striker fire pistol is relying on the trigger safety and not this frame safety. Some guys just say, well, I'm not going to engage the frame safety. The problem is the frame safety can get inadvertently knocked. And so really, you need to train with the frame safety if you have one on your firearm. Trigger has the trigger shoe, the trigger safety, and of course this has to be depressed. You can see back here at the back, disappears, and that keeps the trigger from firing unless you have a full grip on the trigger. Now, one thing that the G3 has going for it that I haven't seen on many other striker fire pistols, we're going to drop the magazine, make sure the gun is unloaded. When you pull the trigger and you fire and let go, notice that the trigger pops back, and this gives you second strike capability. So if you hit a dead round in the chamber, instead of having to rack the slide, tap rack, and eject the round, you can actually have a second strike on that primer. And I think that is a pretty cool deal. Now, one of the things about that is that the trigger pull is different between when it's cocked and ready and then when you restrike it. So we're going to make sure the gun is in the full cocked position. Very free play, just a lot of free play right here. And then it comes to a wall, a little bit of resistance, and then a nice break. And guys, I'm telling you, that is a really nice trigger pull for a polymer frame striker fire pistol. Reset right there. Now the striker has been released, but the trigger's gone back. This time, the free play is not as big, kind of stops right here. A lot of pull and resistance, and then you've got the break. So it's different, but you should never have to encounter that second strike capability unless you have a dead round, and then the trigger is not as important. And our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. We're going to check the trigger pull weight. 5 pounds, 4.1 ounces. 5 pounds, 2.6 ounces. It's definitely all that trigger weight comes when you get down to that one position. Guys, I'm impressed, and honestly, it's a little better than it is with the G2C. Now, I could get it out and compare it, but it's just a little bit of a difference, but I like the G3 a little better. Now, considering there are a lot of different striker fire pistols we could compare the G3 to, I brought out the Ruger Security 9 because it's more in the price range of the Taurus G3. Also, the Canic would also be close in that, but I think that the Canic actually runs a little more than even the Ruger. So looking at these two together, from the top of the slide, they are almost identical in size. The top of the slide's matching. We've got just a little bit of a hangover with the Taurus, not even really the whole base plate. So it's probably about 1/4 of an inch difference. Width-wise, I would say that the Taurus is thinner than the Ruger. The Ruger, the frame kind of juts out just a little bit, and I think it actually adds a little bit of width. So really between the two, I think that these are very close. The Security 9 runs on Big Daddy Unlimited $249, and the Taurus runs $214. which is phenomenal. The weight on the Taurus G3, 1 pound, 8.6 ounces. The Ruger Security 9, 1 pound, 7.8 ounces. The Taurus G2C, 1 pound, 5.6 ounces. And we appreciate Fiocchi USA for sponsoring the ammo. We're shooting just some 115 grain full metal jacket, and we've got a little bit of extra stuff we're just putting through it. Also, we appreciate Lula Loaders for supplying some loaders. These things will save your thumbs and your sanity. So we took the G3 down to the range, and when I say we, I mean me, and took it down, shot about 500 rounds through it. Just really excited about seeing how well the trigger would do. And guys, I'm telling you, out of all the Tauruses I've ever fired, at least the center fire, this is just the most joy to take to the range. The trigger just makes this such an excellent trigger pull. I mean, you feel like you're on target when you pull it. It's so smooth and crisp. And I really enjoyed shooting it. I really like the TX22. I mean, it was a lot of fun as well, but there's something about this G3, the full hand around the grip, the excellent trigger. The texturing was just aggressive enough to where it felt really just nestled in your hand, but it wasn't too rough. And of course, 9mm is not really that, that aggressive anyway. It's not that much recoil. Decent low bore axis, and so I was able to pick up those sights, which the sights, to be honest with you, are a little bit dim. They're not super bright. There are already some true glow fiber optic options out on the market, and there will be others. Any of the sights that'll fit your G2C will fit this. There's, from what I understand, 6 sights, I believe, I've heard fit this, but I haven't tested it, and some even said that Glock sights would fit it. You just have to do some minor fitting. But I think you're going to be able to get factory sights. The grip, the finger rest right here, I found myself just hitting that finger rest, and it just melts right into it. It's different than an aggressive pad or a little textured pad. It just sits right down in it. Even the thumb grooves, the thumb little rest, they seem to be just in the right spot. Guys, I'm really surprised at how much I enjoyed shooting this pistol. It's very ergonomic. I like the grip angle. It just seems to point well. And so I definitely recommend at least taking one of these out to the range and trying it out. Now we're going to disassemble the firearm, drop the magazine, make sure that the gun is unloaded. First thing we want to do is bring back our slide about 1/8 of an inch and pull down on these 2 tabs like you do on the Glock, and then pull the trigger. And that releases the striker, and then it comes right off. We have a double recoil spring. It is all steel, and then we have the Browning linkless design. I got this from Big Daddy Guns, and they may have test fired it and then sent this one out to me for the review. And that looks like that's what it's done, because there is some wear right here on the barrel. Here in the slide, nice workmanship. You've got your firing pin safety block right there, your striker safety block. And very, very similar to the Glock. But really the quality looks good. Here with the frame, again, guys, you could really be looking at a Glock right here. A little bit of a difference, but definitely a lot of similarities. And guys, that's all you need to do to field strip. Just reverse order, bring in your barrel, your recoil spring and guide rod. And we're going to bring the slide right back over. Test for function. And we're good to go. The price on the Taurus is, I believe, $349. That's the manufacturer suggested retail price. Should be coming in around the $250 mark. On Big Daddy Unlimited, it's $214. And I really appreciate Big Daddy Unlimited for sending these. Some of the best prices on the market. So guys, I think the Taurus G3 and the G2C are 2 excellent handguns for self-defense. I think, again, Taurus has really stepped up their game. Their quality control is much better, especially with the facilities here in the U.S. It seems like with the new equipment, they're really putting out some much improved firearms for the Taurus line. And for the price, this really makes it affordable for those that are on a tight budget. Again, at Big Daddy Unlimited, $214 for a good quality, reliable handgun. I think it's great what Taurus is doing, and I'm looking forward to more things coming from Taurus. And guys, the name may be Taurus, but the G3 is no bull. Guys, every Tuesday at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we have a Facebook Live event. Robbie Wheaton and I get together, talk about different upcoming reviews, different ideas about guns and gear, and also things that are impacting the Second Amendment. We take question and answers all through as well. So check us out at Such Fun Gun Reviews Facebook page. I'll have the link down below in the description. Again, every Tuesday, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And guys, we have a lot of fun. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Taurus G3, let's check it out. So we're going to make sure the gun is in the full. Okay. So guys, I'm telling you, I don't do anything.